Hello and welcome to this now moment where I am just super excited to welcome Megan with Sunset Moon Wellness Center. And why I wanted to have Megan on the show is I got to experience her wellness center, her food, her energy, and it was just so amazing. I wanted to learn more. And so here we are just getting to experience you. So thank you, Megan.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. This is wonderful. Thanks so much.
Yeah. And so I wanted to dive into how did birth Sunset Wellness Center? Because I got to experience the cafe and your cooking's amazing. And I just would love to know like how this, got started and how it's even evolving in this moment.
Yes, thank you. I guess it really got started a little bit of a ways back, probably in the early 2000s when I went to school for nutrition. And I figured that I had a gluten sensitivity, having suffered from migraine headaches since the age of 4. Um, I was always kind of, looking for ways to support my own health. And so when I went to nutrition school, I kind of got a very good foundation, a very good basis for, um, just different types of foods, different types of food combination diets. And, after going through this whole process of something called the elimination diet, I found that I was sensitive to gluten and became headache free for like the first time in my life. So the migraine headaches were pretty debilitating for weeks at a time. And I had had all kinds of doctors and support around that as a child. So then I just started to really delve deeper into the cooking, into organic foods and veganism, which kind of led me to be a raw foodist, which ended when I was pregnant with my daughter. It's really hard to maintain a raw food diet when you're pregnant. So that kind of evolved into like me going to school for naturopathy, and I got to delve a little bit deeper into raw foods and to healing with food altogether. Um, and I worked as a personal chef for a long time. I worked as a doula, yoga teacher, and always just kind of worked on the tangent of purification dieting. So that is kind of like what led me to birth Sunset Moon, to kind of weave together all of the different things that I'm offering, and make it like one cohesive business. So it's been a blessing to be able to do that and to offer all of these various different ways of healing. So and the journey continues. So
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, I feel like most of us, right? Like we get on these journeys because there's something that is happening like a headache or a pain, and we're not really, and we're going to doctors and they're not really giving us, the answers that we're looking for. And what an amazing experience to dive within yourself and to find those answers and then to be able to share that, out into the world with this business. Like, and the one thing I just want to say is like, when you come into your space, like it's not just about the cooking or even like the cool things that you have around it. It's like this energy that you have built like within yourself. Like you can feel that as you walk into the space, and it's like, oh my gosh, and so I know that there's even more to that, right? With like meditation and yoga and different things that you've discovered. And so what types of things have you discovered within like food, but also like with the mental piece of, kind of putting it all together?
well, uh, self-care is paramount when you're doing that kind of work. So yeah, you definitely have to have rituals and practices in place. And meditation can take on many forms. Sometimes you can just sit in silent, vipassana type meditations. You can have walking meditations. Pranayama is also very supportive to the energetic system. And then just a very good asana practice, um, you know, and being able to listen to your body, knowing when it's being challenged appropriately, over challenged or under challenged, so kind of trying to keep that component of self-care. So I actually found yoga because of my hip issue. So that was kind of what propelled me into delving deeper into the world of yoga. Was I had had chronic pain for many years and started doing yoga and it went away. Um, so it's yeah, the mental component is really just listening to yourself, taking care of yourself. I'm very lucky in the fact that 99.999% of people that walk through my door are fabulous and fantastic and very happy. Um, and some of them are just looking for genuine help. So that's been like very much like a very good blessing for us and the community. Um, Things did change a little bit throughout the pandemic. So, but we're kind of shifting gears at this point and going to be like taking things in a little bit of a different direction, which I'm really excited about.
Mm, I love that so much. And like and it just feels so amazing how like, we never met each other before, but we have so much similarity of you being born with hip dysplasia, even me diving into yoga because I was looking for expansion in my hips and things like that. And now being vegan and all these things, like it's just amazing like how we're presented with these challenges or these opportunities of life, and how we can shift and mold just basically like what is coming at us, and how we can kind of sit with that, and what does it feel like in the body, and we allow it to move through us so that we can evolve and change. And the one thing that really felt good to me when I walked into your space was like it really felt like it was this new earth way of doing business, and where it was really like intimate, like it just like the food felt intimate, like the ingredients you used, just your energy, and in terms of like really like cultivating a community when you walk in. And so has that been something that you've desired as well as you've been building, because you're a mom and a business owner, and how have you been able to navigate that and create a really great balance with it, because there are businesses that have been created where it's stressful, and it's like, whoa, these people look like they're not necessarily doing well. But it was like, I didn't ever sense that energy with you. It was just this like caring and this being of service energy that feels like what we're all stepping into as we continue to expand.
Yeah, well, it's definitely been like a lot to navigate. It In the beginning, I did have like a pretty good number of people on staff, and so that creates different relationship between the whole structure of the business and the people helping you. So right now we are. I usually just offer apprenticeships and I teach people, how to make these foods and how to um, do everything from the food to the yoga to the wellness. And that's kind of where we are right now. Is I'm creating a school. I think I may have mentioned that to you in previous conversations, but starting a school for integrative wellness, and I'm bringing on board a whole bunch of teachers, not just myself, but there's going to be a whole lot of different offerings. So it kind of you know having people who are on staff like as employees was one thing, because basically you're paying them to learn all this stuff, and it was some people were great and some people were not, and it was very stressful. So now that people can elect to take on an apprenticeship or a mentorship, um, it's been fantastic because people are very inspired and they want to learn these things versus having to be forced to learn them. And so they are all kind of like wielding it into their own self healing and their own lifestyle. And it is quite a bit of a process. So it's good to have, some constant and consistent exposure. Um, and then on the other side of things, like how to deal with people who walk in the door, how to, deal with all of these, you know, some people are happy and some people are, really not feeling well. So it's how to navigate all of that and how to kind of um, train people to have that compassionate way of looking at the people who walk in and taking care of them. So it's been like a very nice shift, and I would say like each and every one of my apprentices, like we're all really good friends now, and they all like each other too. So it's a very happy little family. It's really been amazing to be able to witness that and to see that shift of just inspired individuals. So it inspires me to like work alongside them and to see their curiosity. So, navigating it has not always been easy, but I feel that now that we're integrating more people with the same interest level, it's been very inspiring.
Oh, I love that. And like in this episode, I called it like building a strong, foundation with community, because it's like that's what I felt. And I think like really the purpose is that when you find that foundation within yourself, right? And you find like, oh, I'm finding this healing and I'm finding more love within myself. And then you find like the things that you enjoy doing. You now become a magnet to more of those possibilities, right? You're seeing
Yeah.
ways to change and shift so that you can create that balance within the workspace and like continuing to feel that joy, right? Because it's like everything can be stressful if we allow it to be. But when we can really communicate and notice and say, hey, I
Right.
notice you don't really like this and maybe this doesn't like you, and so how about we move directions? And I feel like as a world, we're stepping into this opportunity, and I just love that you're giving others in your area that opportunity to change, to expand and grow, and to really discover themselves in this way, with cooking and feeling good with themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been wonderful to witness. Just the curiosity alone, and how many people are really um, just wanting to learn more on not just how to take care of themselves, but also take care of their families. It's been pretty inspiring in that regard. So
I love that. And the one question that's popping up is, so about your child. Does did you automatically like create her being vegan, or what has that approach been of like her getting to learn to listen to her body? Or I'm curious about like how you've been navigating parenting as well in terms of this like broader perspective of love.
yeah, well, I guess when she was a lot younger, I always like made everything by hand, everything like from the hummus to the applesauce. So I would always make things fresh, and she loved it. And it wasn't until I think she started going to school and just started getting exposed to other things and other kinds of foods. And my baseline for that was like to have no restrictions. So, and then she's kind of learned to navigate that on her own of what she wants and what's appropriate for her. So she's not gluten free. She likes her bagels and her bread, and that's fine with me. But it was mostly at one point learning how to let go, and just allowing her to make her own food choices. And so then that way she could decide what's best for her and not be reliant on being dictated what to do or having a parent like um, we carry certain foods in the home that she can't get other places. um, I was one of those parents who every Halloween, and this, she hates this, but I always threw the candy away. Uh, like she would go around and she would get the candy and she'd get this big bag and then um, she lives with her dad part of the time. Every time she was out of the house, I just threw it away. I was like, no, like we're so not eating this. But now she's in school and they still do like the candy as a like a reward system, which I really don't enjoy. But again, it's like I'm not having those kinds of restrictions. May not want to have that kind of food in my home, but I'm allowing her to like make those own choices and like what does it feel like in your body? Does it feel good or does not feel good? So that's kind of how she has evolved, and she's been helping me in the cafe since for the past 6 years. So she used to be a little bit more hands-on before she became a teenager, but she's still a very good helper, and she realizes the responsibility of like making the food fresh and how to cook for herself. She's a pretty good cook, and just maintaining a level of cleanliness and hospitality and things of that nature. So it's been great.
I love that. And I think it's so important, like, for parenting, right? Because I just, even for myself, like, have just found, ways that we can be codependent, right? Where we're constantly feeding others our beliefs and then kind of pressuring them to do that. And then when we're trying to discover ourselves, then it's like there's all these things that are going on. And so I love the approaches that you have made within yourself of like really taking care of yourself first and then allowing that to expand and grow for your child so that she can then choose, like, hey, you know what, like I want to do this, and oh, now I notice this doesn't actually make me feel good, because we all know like what foods are really good for us, and our bodies are always telling us like what things it really desires. And the more that we can have this awareness to really tune into ourselves, like we can create change. Like for me, like I know my body loves plants, and the moment if someone tells me no, you need this, like it doesn't feel good, because it's like I know what my body needs, and my body will always tell me what it is that the next level is. So I just love how the way that you're just approaching life and approaching all the things. Like this just feels so good to know that there are people out there that are, really focused on this community, this collaboration, and this compassion and love for each other to really expand and grow into more.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And what has been interesting is because we're like a 100% gluten-free establishment, um, and a vegan establishment, neither, like some people are not both. Some people are both, but some people who are like gluten-free, they come in and they're not, vegan, and that's fine. Um, and some people come in, they're vegan and they're not gluten-free, but some, there's all these different types of people and communities that are coming through, and so that's been interesting to witness. And for someone like myself, I've worked with a lot of impoverished communities and things like that, and sometimes you just got to work with what you got. In some places it's a 3-hour drive to a grocery store. So you just have to work with what you got in a lot of situations. So, and that's kind of where I had always been coming from, not just working with the impoverished communities, but I got most of my culinary training in like camp kitchens. So meaning that like, you bring everything, including the tables, you bring the tables, the cookware, you're working off generators, you create your own sanitation systems, like you have like this whole experience. And I did that for the better part of like 5 years. And you're feeding like, 60 to 100 people. So it's a big task. And I do think that, that really helped me to be able to attribute those skills into Sunset Moon. Uh, but those were very fun times. But you're in essentially like working with what you got. You don't have refrigeration, so you have to like use things in a timely manner so that they're fresh and they're good. And you're thinking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all these people who are working hard. So um, it was a very eye-opening experience, and probably some of the best experiences that I've had as far as like working on a culinary perspective. So
Mm. I love that. And the one thing I'm wondering now is like, so how did you even create, like the menu? Like, because I know you have some things that maybe you have one day that you don't have another. And so what has been like the energy behind that of like keeping it different and finding the different things that you make?
um, I don't know. I just kind of come up. I like just think about something, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool to make. Like that would be cool. And so when I first like made my first menu, I didn't even go into the kitchen. I just sat down and I started writing it. So it was mostly just about the inspiration and coming together with the education that I had and knowing about flavors, textures, um, yeah, so a lot of things I had made up, like a lot of recipes I did create when I was working as a personal chef. So, those things I knew that they were going to carry over well. So, yeah, it really is just one of those moments. It's like a divine moment of just like receiving, like, I should do that now. I should create this kind of dish. And I think that's a lot what culinary arts is about. That's why we call it an art. Um, you just get an idea and you learn how to do it very well. And not just well, but also in like enough of a timely manner. Um, and just kind of start to put all the steps together of what's necessary to make this next thing. So I knew when I constructed the menu that I wanted to, utilize more than one ingredient in more than one dish. So, it's like I could have 12 different fruits and vegetables, but I can, create a plethora of dishes. So that was kind of my thinking behind it, was to have this multi-purpose produce, and being able to like create all these different things, the different smoothies, the different tonics, juices, entrees, sandwiches, and things like that. So
Wow. Yeah. I mean, because I'm even like thinking back to that grapefruit salad that I had. And like, I normally am not someone that likes fruit and vegetables together, like, especially grapefruit. Like, I would never imagine, but it was like the way that you had done it, like, it definitely felt like it was this divine flavor of like goodness that, like, then, like, just hit my body in a really different way. Like, I was just like amazed at, that. So I love that it's not necessarily planned, which I think is
mm,
more of like that artsy, that like what it is that we're here to be, right? We're here to be these creators. And so the more of us that can step into our divine gifts and really allow, us to allow spirit to run through us of whatever it is that we're here to be and create. So I love that, because it definitely feels like that, like just this divine, essence of fuel for my body, and it responded like really great, because I had recovery and then I had this recovery food, and it was like my body felt brand new. So
that's great. Yeah, and that's a really good salad for that too.
I love
And I
that.
agree with you. Not like sometimes the fruits in the salad, they can be a little bit much. And even like the fruits and the nuts and all of that stuff, but it's like a different way of combining it, that it all kind of, the flavors work very well together. So
Yeah. And the other piece that you have there is like all these teas, and you're like really knowledgeable on the teas. And so when you were doing your culinary arts, like was the herbs something that you learned separately, and then you were able to kind of, as you've been learning about the body and foods, like herbs kind of came in as well?
Yeah, well, when I went to school for naturopathy, I studied herbal medicine, and the different preparations of herbs, the different ways to blend them, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I do have like a little bit of a knowledge base in herbs, and it's such a vast world, the herb world. But also at the same time, I realized even just having knowledge of herbs, like at singly, just the single herbs, and realizing that there really aren't any apothecaries in our area, or where Sunset Moon is. So that was kind of just like an added element of like, bringing on more herbal wellness, herbal knowledge, and then just with the offerings of the blended teas was like another thing. So um, in our area, I visited like a lot of cafes, and they have like four teas. It's like they'll have four teas, and like one of them is herbal, and all the rest have like caffeine in them. And I'm like, well, that's kind of boring. So you know, having an eclectic variety of many different herbal teas, and many different caffeinated teas was kind of my vision for that. So, and so, a lot of people don't drink caffeine, um, and they do use a lot of herbal wellness in their lifestyle. So it's nice um, to learn that, from the community, from people. Mhm.
Yeah, and I feel like the herbs kind of even like co-create with like the vegetables and the gluten free. It just kind of, and like even all the services that you offer, like it just feels like it's just this like home for your body of recovery and learning about yourself through food, and how food really is this medicine that we've been given, and we can co-create with it the more that we have knowledge about it and have people that know about it to share, this gift. So I just love that it just feels like it all goes together.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that it does too. And, um, sometimes if you're really not feeling well, the teas are paramount, the medicinal mushrooms also. Um, I can, attribute to the fact that they've brought me back to life a few times. um, the raw soups, or just soup in general, just lighter foods. Sometimes when we don't feel well, it's harder to like, you know, take on a whole meal. But it's also important to get all of your nutrients. So, and one of the simplest ways to get nutrients is through herbs, through herbal medicine, because it's fast acting, and um, they can make you feel better in just like a couple of hours. So that was like a huge component of that, is just to bring that awareness, to bring that wellness to the community. So I remember in the very beginning, we'd have people come in and all different kinds of people. They'd be like, I feel horrible. What can you give me? And I would recommend different things. A lot of times I recommended the energy soup, which is a raw soup that's like blended with all green vegetables and some lemon and some garlic. And they're like, I feel well. They're like, after consuming it, they're like, I feel better. And that's just, after a couple of minutes. But and the same with some of the tonics, when you have a cold, or they are very strong, but they kind of go, swept under the rug sometimes. We don't realize how beneficial like lemon juice is to our system, cayenne pepper, ginger, different kinds of juices. And so it's just seeing people's reactions from the moment they walk in to the moment they walk out. It's different. So there is some magic to that medicine. Um, and it's been, very helpful and very healing to the people that come in. So it's been nice to witness that.
Yeah, like I'm sure, like just to see someone like needing support and being able to give support through food, through herbs, like, and just knowing that, like, is I just know it's so so good. And so before we wrap up, I'm gonna add your link so that everyone can check out your site and all the things that you offer there. But is there anything that you want to share with us, or any little tip that you want to give us as we close out in this moment?
Well, I guess in what a lot of my teachers have always told me is, never stop learning. Just learn as much as you can. Um, Even if you feel that you're proficient in any area, like even with, natural healing and natural wellness, just keep going around and learning from other teachers. You never know what you're going to learn. And you might hear something that you never have heard before. So as you know, you embark on this like path of self healing, just stay curious and be open to learning from other people. You'll know like when you don't resonate with something versus when you do. So just letting it be open and studying with as many people as you can, and experimenting with even just different recipes, to see how they might turn out for you, how they might benefit you or your family members. So I think in wrapping up, I would just say that, like never stop learning. And like the more that we progress, as a global community in this field of natural wellness, um, there's more and more information that comes out. And so it's really nice to be able to like stay on top of that, and to just continue to learn, learning from, the older books and learning from the newer books too, because there's always going to be something new and up and coming, or, some new scientific research that they did on like, you know, um, different herbs and different medicines, different foods. Uh, One of the guys I like for that a lot is the Medical Medium. He puts out a lot of really good books. So, um, and I was a celery juice drinker way long before he came onto the circuit. But he's developed some really great programs, and he's just one of the many of people who are putting themselves out there to educate others on wellness, on health, and um, you know whether it's physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. So we're very lucky at this time, and um, yeah, I would just recommend never stop learning. Just keep learning, and seeing what is there to serve your highest benefit, and serve your community. So
Ah, thank you. Like my heart feels so expanded by getting to share this time with you, getting to know more about, the behind the scenes, because the energy that I felt when I walked in, it was like I knew it, but it's just so great to have you here today to share, the experiences that you've gotten to go through to create this beautiful community that continues to evolve and expand as you do as well. So thank you so much for all you're doing for all of us.
well, thanks so much for inviting me onto this show. This has been fantastic. It's been such a wonderful time to talk with you.
Thank you, thank you. And so bye for now. Until next time.
Until next time, thank you so much.